is the CEO of GeekNation.com, ladies and gentlemen, Claire Kramer.
Thank you. And I just want to thank you guys. This has been an awesome 3 days. Have you guys had a good time? Yeah. Have you guys enjoyed everything you've seen up on the stage? Yeah. I think there have been some incredible guests this weekend, and we're ending with someone who is the most incredible and someone I consider a friend. Anybody like Firefly out there? Please welcome to the stage, Summer Glau! Hello, Summer. You can take this mic, and you can come over here. All right. Thank you. And that's how we're going to roll this hour. Is this your first time in Rhode Island?
Yes.
What do you think?
It is. I haven't seen it in the daylight. But I love the people.
And they love you, right guys? So early in your career came a little project called Firefly.
Oh, that old thing? Yes.
Tell us sort of about the process of when you first read For River to creating the character and the longevity. Did you ever expect you'd be sitting here this many years later talking about that project, that character?
Goodness, Joss tried to describe this to me before I came, and you can't describe it. You just have to come in and see what it's like. No, I didn't. I didn't have any idea that Firefly would be sort of its own phenomenon. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but it's funny. We're getting ready to move, and I decided to go through all of my scripts, and I found my audition sets.
No.
Firefly, yes. And they made me shake a little bit at remembering the process, because I had never even auditioned for a series regular before. I was having to sneak into guest star auditions. So I remember the experience like it was yesterday, and I remember how reading Joss's words automatically transported me into the world, into the character, and how sort of effortless it could be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is something as an actor you don't always have in your career when you tackle a role. So to have that as your first sort of experience is so amazing.
It was. I didn't even realize how lucky I was, because the first person who ever hired me was Joss. And then he gave me the chance to audition for Firefly, and that was my first series, and then Serenity happened, and he gave me a really safe place to learn and to take chances and be vulnerable, and I'm forever grateful.
Absolutely. He started so many careers back in the day. I mean, he just, I don't know, it's amazing.
He didn't need to choose somebody that was already popular. He was confident to say, no, I think you can do it, and I'm going to cast you.
And the material was strong enough that it gave such longevity to so many careers. Yeah.
It's true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, obviously, Firefly ended way too soon, and I imagine the cast, you guys just thought, hey, it's kind of over, like, this is done. What happened how did you hear about Serenity and that would be a reality, that film?
I remember there was talk about it. I didn't understand the industry at all. I was brand new, and I thought that was really fun. I'm gonna miss it, and I didn't know what to expect. And I remember getting together. We all went to Nathan's house, and I remember sitting by the fire and crying with Jewel and saying goodbye, and Joss saying, no, I'm going to figure something out. And then I remember going over to Joss's house. This was long time after the show ended to meet his first son, and him telling me, you know, I'm gonna make River a trained assassin.
Wait, what?
Come here. And he sent me to martial arts school, and I worked for about 6 months to learn how to do the fight scenes, and coming back on set again, thinking, is the magic going to come back? And it really did.
Yeah, I mean, everybody stepped right back into those characters so effortlessly. But that was the brilliance of the casting and the material, also.
True, exactly.
Yeah, so many, many years later, obviously, I feel like you guys are one of the most tight-knit casts and groups, and the Whedon people in general stick together. You got to do an episode of Castle. How was that? To work with Nathan again?
Nathan hid in the trailer and jumped out and scared me my first day. Some things never change. He was waiting to torment me. And then give me the best hug and welcome me. It was really, really fun to get to be back on set with him again. It was like no time had passed.
That's awesome. Well, we have time for people to ask questions, so if you have a question for Summer, you can line up at the mics, and we'll try to get to as many people as we can. In the meantime, Summer, tell us about the Sarah Connor Chronicles, and you played such a great Terminator on there, so
Thank you.
I was a big fan of that series, and of course, Lena Headey.
Oh, yeah, Selena. Yeah, she was like the best big sister. She's a fantastic actress. I had an incredible time. It ended too soon.
It also ended too soon.
Yeah, we didn't know. We had the third season planned out, and we had we had great stories to tell. So I hated that ended the way that it did. But I almost didn't go to that audition, and I told my mom that I was going to skip it, and she was like, "You are going to that audition." And so I was. And then when I realized who had written it and who was behind it, I really, really wanted the role, and I thought it was a very interesting way to take something that was so loved and part of pop culture and reformat it for TV. I thought that he did an excellent job, and I couldn't get enough. I'm playing a Terminator. Doesn't get old.
You were awesome on that show.
Thank you.
Hi, yes. We'll start over here.
I love all the bizarre lines that River has in Firefly and Serenity. Do you have any that stick out to you or your favorites?
Any favorite lines that you can... This is always the interesting question because the actors have so many lines in so many things. You're asking her to recall way back, but is there one that stands out?
Elsa, I can tell you with my brain.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi. So you've played so many awesome, badass female characters, and I know that you've helped a lot of fans feel empowered, but I was more asking, like, throughout, like, have you noticed a change in yourself throughout? Like, do you feel more empowered, like, walking down the street after playing all of these characters that can just, like, beat anybody up and everything?
How much of that do you take into your own life? Or is it really Summer getting out all her aggressions while she's...
You know, that's a really interesting question. I think in some ways I feel there's a vulnerability about being an actor because you're taking chances on set every day, and you're letting people see these choices and these risks, and it goes on film, and there's also another vulnerability when you meet people in real life that might have a certain expectation for what you'd be like in real life, and that you also feel a little self-conscious, but through vulnerability comes empowerment, in my opinion. And so that sort of makes you feel invincible in a way, you know, if you can stand the process. And I do have to say that during the filming of Serenity, Joss wanted to set the camera up and let me do the fights from start to finish so that it looked real. And in order to do that, I actually had to make contact with the stunt guys. So, you know, when you normally do stunts, you're not supposed to make contact. You're supposed to, good training, a good technique would teach you, you know, not to make contact but make it look that way. But I actually got to hit the guys gently, you know, gently.
That's in quotes.
And I learned how to actually hit them. So that was pretty darn empowering. You know, they had to act like I was really hurting them. And then if you think about being a Terminator, everything was breakaway. So I got to grab something and rip it apart. I would grab a car door and it would fly off, or I would punch through a wall and it would break. And I would go home feeling pretty high.
That is a great question. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi. Is it okay if I actually direct the question to both of you?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so you've both worked with Joss Whedon. I was just wondering, you've already talked about it, I know, but what was for both of you, what was your favorite part about working with Joss Whedon? Like, what really stands out in your mind?
Well, I'll start because mine's a short answer because I have thought about this. I think the writing. I mean, he is such a brilliant writer. There's just like a cadence to his writing. It flows, and once maybe sometimes it's hard to lock into that groove as an actor, but once you're in, you're in. And so that is something I haven't encountered with another person since Joss.
You're absolutely right, and that reminds me of a story. I was auditioning for, I auditioned for Kitty Pryde, way back in the day. I don't even know how many years ago that was. But this was back when I, yeah, don't think about it. This was back years ago, and it was one of those auditions where you didn't get the size until you showed up, because they basically made you sign your life away if you say anything about the material. And so, you know, you get there early and you look at the lines and you try to prepare an audition. And I was really dreading it because you want to make strong choices when you go into the room and have your minute. And I read these pages and automatically I felt like I was in another world. I felt absolutely inspired. I felt the energy, I felt the adrenaline. I went in and it was one of my favorite auditions ever. And I left feeling like, you know what? I loved how that went because I forgot that I was myself. And I remember telling Joss about my audition and saying, there was just something about those sides. And I told him about the scene and he said, I wrote that. See? So that's why. And Claire's right.
Awesome. Thank you for your question.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, my name's Laurel. I run a Firefly fan blog called
Thank
Firefly.
you.
Thank
you.
We're pretty cool. I do have a question. The universe of Firefly has expanded so much since the show and the movie have ended, including graphic novels and comics, which I believe are now ongoing, which I'm really happy about personally because I'm a huge comic nerd too. I was wondering what kind of plot you would like River to have in these comics.
The thing that's so great about the comics, especially from the Whedonverse, is it doesn't necessarily follow the same rules that the TV show did, you know? And I remember, while you think of your answer, Marty Noxton and Jane Espenson saying, like, we can do crazy things in the comics, like make a giant dawn and, you know, different things like that. So what crazy thing would you want for River?
Crazy. You know, that's tough because River really just, you never know what to expect with River, so it's hard to think of something outlandish or unexpected. But I always just wanted to see if they could find an appropriate boyfriend for her.
Where would you like to see the character go?
Well, right now she's actually on a mission to rescue the other kids from the project that fiddled with her brain. So I'd really like that to be successful, and I'd like her to find a few friends that actually have a shared experience with her so that she's not so lonely.
Yes, that would be really fun.
And maybe a boyfriend, too. Thank you. Hi.
Hey, Summer. Thanks for coming to my home state. Listen, I think everyone in the audience here has to give you props for the role of Isabella Rosechev in Arrow Season 2, am I right?
Yes.
I think it was probably just as important as the character Deathstroke, Manu Bennett's character. But what I wanted to ask you is, this is something that I think you touched the Arrowverse before you actually were cast in it. How much do you think that the short-lived series that you did, The Cape, helped to influence the popularity of a crime vigilante drama that Greg Berlanti is now responsible of? And tell people what that is, just in case they forgot The Cape.
I know, I don't think anybody saw The Cape.
I did.
Oh, really? Thanks, guys. Too kind. I loved that show. I was very happy in that world. I thought it was a fantastic cast and excellent writing. And sometimes it's strange, you know, I feel like TV sort of goes in cycles, and they tend to, you know, if a show is out that's hitting, you know, you see that theme in other shows and other channels, and so I do think that there is a bit of influence